Alrighty, here I have the Cricket Outlast 5G. I got this guy from Walmart for $13 on clearance. So we're gonna see what exactly you get. This is kind of a follow-up to my previous video on the Icon 6, which I got this one for $9. I believe this one's supposed to be a little more premium, at least if not, it's a little newer. We have that this one is 5G. So let's go ahead, open this up, see if we get this pull tab to go. Perfect. There we are. Pop this guy open here. So these all do come with some accessories, just a USB-C power adapter and some headphones, which is one thing I gotta say that's pretty impressive, is all of these devices come with a audio output. There it is on this one. Similar layout to the other phone, SIM card up top with our volume and our power button fingerprint scanner. So let's go ahead, turn this on, and I'm gonna peel this away for us. Very nice. It's very similar to the other phone, just as far as the looks. Alrighty, so that's it. Pretty quick boot up time. I'm gonna go ahead and get this guy set up, and then we will come right back. Alrighty, so I have it just basically set up here. The setup on these is quite simple. They really do want you to just get rolling with this phone off the bat. But we can see here that it is just loaded with bloatware, and it looks like they're installing. I think that first one of these apps just got installed while I brought it up. So that's the unfortunate problem of these cheaper devices, is they load them with bloatware, and there's an app that tries to find apps for you. Had that issue on my Icon 6 here that I showed the other day. Unfortunately, loading it up, we just kept getting app after app after app. Oh, we can see here, I think these just, oh wow. It is actively just downloading apps. That's kind of interesting here. We can kind of see that it's taking its time, but it's surely downloading apps, or at least adding things to my homepage. So that is more bloatware than was on this device. Never tried to add these widgets or anything like that. But I'm not going to use this as a phone. It's basically going to exist just for me to, review, have fun with, and more so as a home device. But before I go and remove everything with ADB, taking a look at the exterior, pretty similar to the Icon 6. Looks like we have another camera here, whereas we don't have an Icon 6. That is one thing I said I noticed. They moved the aux port from the top to here. Not that these are in the same line. They do use similar hardware. I was looking at the specs. This one appears to have a little bit newer of a processor. Once again, a MediaTek one. But a nice benefit is it has 6 gigabytes of RAM. The displays, I believe, are almost exact. They're both 6.8 inch or 6.75, I think. Yeah, the profiles are pretty much the same there. And the resolution is the same as well. You get 260 DPI or PPI. And the storage on this device is 128 gigs, whereas this one's 64, but they are both expandable, which is a really nice feature to see. Both main cameras are going to be 50 megapixels. And obviously both of them are Cricket devices. I found out this one is also offered by AT&T under the name, I believe it's a Verge. So it once again wouldn't surprise me if internally a lot of things are going to be reused from this device on this one. So I'm going to go ahead, get this debloated, get some apps on here that I like, and we'll give it a try. Looking at the side profile though, it does look like this one's a bit, if not thicker, boxier. Both have 5,000 milliamp hour batteries as well, but I'll be back. Alrighty, so I have the phone here completely debloated. I've got some of my apps on it, and I've gone ahead and removed, I uninstalled all of the Cricket related apps, as well as anything to do with SIM card and phone messaging, stuff like that, just because I'll be on Wi-Fi whenever I'm using this. So I uninstalled what I could, then I used the ADB tool on my desktop to disable the rest. So I pretty much have a stock feeling Android experience now. I also went ahead and ran a Geekbench test, and here we could see the results are certainly not impressive, but they're not terrible when we go ahead and compare them to the Icon 6, which we could see is pretty awful. I mean, we are doing, about 5 times better here, and about 3 times, a little less than 3 times better there. And in comparison, my OnePlus 13, fairly modern device, is doing pretty great. I think it was something like 3 or 4 times that, and maybe I think it's like 3 or 4 times that as well. So certainly not exactly a flagship device, but definitely better than this Icon 6, as I had conjectured. It is noticeable, to say the least. TikTok is now entirely usable. With the Icon 6, I said that it wasn't previously, so let me pull a video up. Alrighty, so back here on my page, I've pulled TikTok up, looking at a video. We can see the playback's pretty smooth. Scrolling and playback in general, significantly smoother than this device. We can see that the Geekbench score pretty much reflects the device's function, much more usable, much more modern feeling, and I'm pretty certain we have stereo speakers. I have the red color here. Some dimensions on the side. Yeah, it definitely feels like there's audio coming out of this top speaker, definitely out of this bottom one. Still doesn't sound great, but it is nice to know that they are both functioning now. One thing to note, this back panel is significantly more susceptible to fingerprints than that of the Icon 6, which, I mean, I've been handling it and there really isn't much going on there. This one looks disgusting. This also has a weird texture on the camera, but that's not too big of a deal. Speaking of camera, I'll throw some images up and we'll have a look at those, compare them to the Icon 6 here. Definitely for $13, you're getting pretty good value, and we'll see how similar the sensors are. And we'll also try the video camera at the end. YouTube playback, let's give that a shot. We have here, pull up the latest video, and of course we'll go apples with 720p 60. All tools. Came with a bunch of parts done, like some new fuel tanks and pumps as well. Regular playback, once again, seems pretty fine at 720p. Fillers. Someone tried to clean up the spring level, and I've been just spraying it with some of that waste up there, which is a crud cutter, rust dissolver, and inhibitor. Comes with the bed right there. A little bit of rust in the loop. I'm impressed to say it looks like 2x speed works pretty well. I had noticed it was stuttering earlier when I was testing it, but seems to be at least performing better, to say the least. So overall, the device definitely feels a lot snappier and clearly outperforms the Icon 6. So you get what you pay for, definitely with these lower end devices. Certainly worth it to pick it up if you can find them for something like $13, like this one here. Even just as a house device, tablet, backup phone, however you want to do it. Like I said with this one, with the Icon 6, that would be, there is the stipulation that to unlock this, you will need to stay with Cricket for a certain amount of time. That's either 3 months or it might be 60 days, depending on the device and I guess where you are. But overall, it's a pretty solid feeling device. So let's go ahead and we'll try out the camera on this Cricket. So yeah, we'll go ahead, we'll give this camera a try. Switch to video and let's see. Alrighty, here we are on the Cricket Outlast. I mean, from what I'm seeing, it looks fairly similar to the Icon 6. I'm going to guess that that 50 megapixel camera is likely the same. Here we have my OnePlus 13, which was filming the previous portions of the video. And I mean, overall it looks alright. Display looks a little washed out. I'm not certain if the video will show it that way. And once again, it looks like the brighter area over here where my light is completely outweighing the darkness on this side. But if I recall correctly, on the Icon 6 video, it didn't quite show up as dramatically. So it could just be the washed out colors on this display. Let's go ahead and grab something with a little bit more color. My lovely AliExpress mat here. And maybe rip the box that has an Icon 6 in it and is still sealed. We could see it does pretty alright picking up the colors. It just seems maybe that the display is a little washed out as far as brightness. But we'll see when the actual video test comes through. The audio recording on the Icon 6 wasn't awful. Certainly wasn't as clear and crisp as the OnePlus 13. It sounded a little lower quality, maybe just too sharp if that makes sense. But once again, we'll find that out. Overall though, I would definitely recommend picking this up. I mean, at the very least, you get a usable device with some not great but cheap accessories, and of course you get the SIM pack in here. And look at that, I didn't even notice. You even get a 2-year warranty. I'm not sure what that entails, but you certainly can't beat it if you can find it on clearance. And I mean, overall these devices do certainly serve their purpose and have their audience at full price. It's a crazy world we live in that you can even consider getting a smartphone like this for less than a few $100s. I mean, $40 or so for these brand new is quite impressive to think of the developments we've come to. I do understand though that for the most part, the manufacturing cost of these devices overseas is quite cheap. So it's just an interesting world we live in, I guess, to say the least. But overall, yeah, go ahead, pick yourself up some fun phones to mess with, even secondhand. Have some fun, disable the apps, make them less bloated, and try to use them for what you need around the house. I mean, I've even considered also making like kind of smart devices out of them. You know, you could have like a calendar that's always open, or a camera viewer, or I've heard even that you can use these as security cameras. I'm guessing with some sort of Android launcher or whatnot. These do allow OEM bootloader unlocking. Let's pull up the settings here, and I believe if we go on down to System, then Developer Options, then we scroll down, we can see, yep, OEM unlocking. So that allows the bootloader to be unlocked. Both of these phones have that option once you enable developer options, so you can go ahead and root these phones and do whatever you want with them. I mean, I'm sure there's at least a version of rooted Android like Lineage OS or something like that you get to run on these, if not something crazy or cool. So that might be cool if anyone has done something like that with one of these cheap phones to share. But otherwise, yeah, that's pretty much it.